Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, December 2nd. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this would be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, BYND, was a very quiet start to the day, and given it's Monday, I suppose start to the week, and I guess given it's December 1st, start to the month. Very, very quiet, not a whole lot going on, and then the rest is history. The hoopla came in, and you can see the price reacted very nicely to it, and a big move up. So definitely some updates here need to be done. So the first update is what I would consider the ideal level of support. You say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? And that would be if the price could stay up here above that level right there at $1.17. Now, don't get me wrong, if the price falls below that area, it doesn't mean the entire chart's destroyed or ruined or anything like that. But if the price could manage to stay above there, that would certainly be a great sign of power moving forward. Taking a step back and looking at all this from the bigger picture point of view, that is where the purple line there comes into play, the famous 50-period simple moving average. Keyword being moving, because I get it, the price is way up here, this line's way down here. But as time goes by, that line is going to move itself higher and higher and get more and more relevant. So from the overarching standpoint, as long as the price is above that line, which is moving upwards, then overall that means that the price is building higher lows, and that's what uptrends are all about, just putting in those higher bases. So again, staying above $1.17 would be great. But from the grand scheme of it all, if that's what the perspective you care about, as long as it's above that purple line, that is by far what matters most. In terms of areas of resistance, nothing fancy here. Very basic logic, just a question of where did the party finally stop today? And that was right up there at $1.48. So $1.48 is where that party stopped. So that'll be the main battleground to watch moving forward. But all in all, anyway, look at it. Very, very impressive start to the week. Next one, QTTB, and we have ourselves a nice little pattern here. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. So we have the bottom part of the pattern. And then we have the top part right there. Change that. Oops, this should be green because that is the support part of the pattern. There we go. And this is what I would call a falling wedge pattern, which is actually a bullish pattern. A rising wedge is the bearish one, so not exactly the most intuitive thing. Now, let me be very clear, though. Just because there's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed if the price pushes up through that it's going to make a big move in the upwards direction. My core point here is this. Is it at least valid? Is it at least a valid situation to throw out there in terms of if the price were to break that level, could it create upside buying pressure? Absolutely. Again, guaranteed? No. Plausible scenario, plausible question to throw out there? Yes, absolutely. So if you like this price range down below $5, you like falling wedge patterns, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, DRCT, and this is a very ugly looking chart, but for you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly, but just to set up the context, big gap up. The price closed here, opened up here on the day, and then after that, this is just what we'd call a gap and trap, opened up, and then just straight down. But the amount it's gone down is what now creates a very interesting scenario because it's not quite there yet, but the price is now approaching this former area of supports down here right around the 11-cent mark, which previously has created some bounces. I mean, you can see broadly speaking right there, got a bit of a bounce. Here right there, got a bounce. And then, of course, the big gap up here. Now, I'm not saying that for sure guaranteed if the price comes down there, it is once again going to bounce. My point here is, once again, is it plausible? Is it a valid question to throw out there? Absolutely. It's already happened a couple times before. Doesn't mean that'll happen again, but it is by no means some sort of random scenario. And if you have traded for a long enough time, I'm sure you've seen these scenarios where it looks like it's the end of the world. It looks like things could not get any more ugly. And then all of a sudden at that moment is where things turn around. And that's where maybe this is that point in time. So keep an eye on that. Now, if you don't like penny stocks or if you're not a disciplined trader, well, you shouldn't even be trading at all if you're not disciplined. But that's another discussion. But if you like these sorts of scenarios and like penny stocks, definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, MSTU, and let me just acknowledge the kind of the obvious part from where the price was down here at the earlier part of the day to where it absolutely bounced to. This has been a very, very solid move. That does bring about the question, though, is there any sort of genuine strength behind this movement, or is this just some sort of dead cat bounce? I have no idea, but by using charts, we can make answering that question very straightforward. And in my mind, it all revolves around this area right here at the 98-cent mark. Why is 98 cents important? I'm not saying this will occur, but just for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down here and then break down below it, what would that be doing to the price at that point in time? That would quite literally be putting the price right back inside of this range where it just was. And not to insult your intelligence, but price movements that make great bounces and then go right back to where they started, not exactly a sign of a genuinely strong bounce. So again, not saying that'll occur, but that is why that is an important area. Whereas let's say the price comes down here, but behaves like this all of a sudden. Now all of a sudden, what do you have? Well, you have a set of lows there. You have lows there. If you envision those as stair-steps, now you have at least making stair-steps progressing in the upwards direction. So again, truly strong moves don't go straight up. Nothing goes straight up. But you are at least going to want to see some signs of progress in the upwards direction. And in this situation, the quote-unquote sign of progress, in my opinion, again, right there at 98 cents. So yes, nice bounce. Is there true strength behind it? Let's see if it can make progress. And again, progress being defined as staying above 98 cents. Next one, NVDA. Nice movement today, especially when you factor in that there was this gap down. The price dropped all the way from there. And then after that, very impressive recovery. And now the price is sitting next to some very key level. In fact, now that I say that, did it actually break up through? Let me see here. Oh, it's knocking on the door as I speak. So that'll be the big dynamic, at least in my opinion, going into Tuesday, is what exactly is going to happen at this trend line. The price is right there. Does it get the break? And if so, is that going to be something that spurs on a lot more continuation? Or is this thing about to get smacked right back down? But yes, as of right now, I didn't realize that the price is quite literally doing battle as I speak, knocking on the door of this area. So yeah, let's see. Is this the start of something bigger? Is the price going to get through there and then maybe make a run up into the 185s? We'll see what happens. Real quick, want to take a break and help you solve a very common problem that maybe pertains to you, and that is the pattern day trader rule, where you'd like to be a day trader, and I am defining day trader as having unlimited day trades every day, but you can't because of that rule. Well, please be aware that there is a market out there, and there's a way to access this market in a very small risk kind of way that gives you unlimited day trades every single day. But I do understand if this sounds a little sketchy. What's the catch? Totally get it, which is why I invite you to swing by my live stream. I go and start Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern for a few hours and watch it with your very own eyes. This is exactly what I've been doing, and I absolutely love it. So swing by the live stream, see it with your very own eyes, and ask me any sort of questions that you may have. But please be aware, you don't have to be trapped under that pattern day trading rule. Next one, KALA, and overall the chart is doing just fine. But it's a little tricky to talk about because if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you're buying up around there and your plan was to buy and sell within 20 minutes, well then yeah, from that angle, things are looking really rough because there was a bigger pullback. But overall, and this is what I talked about previously, in terms of what would the ideal level be, everything is fine. Ideally, if the price can continue to stay up here above that $1.25 mark, that would be a great sign of power. But as I discussed in a previous chart, from the overarching standpoint, just watch that purple line. As that purple line there, that 50 period, simple moving average moves higher and higher. As long as the price stays above the overall trend line, if you want to call it that, then that does mean that by definition, the overall trend is in the upwards direction. So just keep an eye on that dynamic. And then in terms of areas of resistance, if the price tries to get some sort of bounce back upwards, first key level that'll need to be broken in the near term, right there around $1.47. And then the next key level after that, right up there around the $1.67 mark. But all in all, like I said, assuming you care about the bigger picture, sure, it pulled back a bit here, but overall, the price still has plenty of opportunity to build that higher base. Next one here, FTEL. Very, very crazy final 30 minutes here as we're witnessing with this big old red candle here. But what I really like is just the well-defined nature of where kind of the key breakout point is, and that's right there at $1.49. So this is not some sort of great discovery. I think a lot of people have noticed how the price got rejected there and then there once again. And I make that comment because when a lot of people are noticing the same levels and wondering the same things, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So no such thing as a guarantee, but more than valid to think that if the price comes up here and breaks through that level, that break right there could create additional buying pressure based solely on the fact that there's going to be a lot of people watching it. So yes, $1.49, very cut and dry area. Got to think a lot of people will be watching it. So if you like these sort of breakout scenarios, you like stocks down below $5, then definitely keep an eye on it. Next one here, OPEN, not a good day, and not necessarily because it was red, but just from a technical standpoint, and this will mean more to those of you that have watched videos. But last week, talked quite a bit about this sideways channel and how it was just kind of waiting to see what happened. And today you can see the price did actually break to the downside. Now, on the good news front, it's not like it broke and then totally collapsed or anything like that, but it did still break to the downside. So nonetheless, an overall bearish move. And that's also, in fact, you know what, I'm just going to get rid of that level there because we can approach the resistance levels here, I think, in a little bit easier of a way. So in the very near term, in terms of levels of resistance, keep an eye on that pink line right there. The 200 period moving average right now valued at 734. You can see that when the price broke below it, it acted as resistance several times right there. And I suppose the last 30 minutes got somewhat close to it before getting smacked back down. But either way you look at it, in the very near term, that first key battleground will be that 200 period moving average. Next key level to watch will be the purple line up there, the 50 period moving average. But one hurdle at a time. First got to get up above the pink line. In terms of areas of resistance now moving forward, next key level of support to watch, if the price does continue on down, going to be right there around $6.83. But yeah, definitely a rough way to start off the week. Next one, BBAI, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos, but if you haven't, I've talked about that pink line right there, that 200 period moving average as a key area of support, and you can see right there, acted as support, acted as support, acted as support. Didn't hit it exactly, but close, acted as support. And then you look at today, and so far so good. Once again, that level is being very stubborn for the bulls and not letting the price down below there. So moving into not necessarily just Tuesday, but the foreseeable future, right there at basically that $6 mark, very, very important level of support. Because if the price were to come down here and then break down below it, it's been several days now since the price has been down in that area. And that, as you can see here, kind of opens up the chart, kind of just a no man's land where there's not anything else until down around the 550 mark. Now, I'm not saying that if $6 breaks, it's dropping straight to 550. I'm just pointing out that here you can see, there's just a lot of space that opens up on the chart. If the price does try to curl itself back around, key area of resistance to watch is going to be right there, give or take right around $6.22. But yeah, rough way to start off the week, but to give some credit where credit is due, that 200 period moving average is doing a good job of holding that support. Next one, TSLA. So let me first just do this and extend out this trend line that I'd drawn in the video from last week. And you can see that the trend line ultimately did a very good job. Now, this was a cruel move. The price acted like it wanted to break out just to snap back down. Price did try again, but then you can see right there that trend line went right back to acting as resistance. But what makes this very interesting here headed in to Tuesday is this dynamic here that as I speak, you can see the price once again is approaching that level, which always brings up the exciting question. If the battle happens, will the price break? And if so, will that be the start of an even bigger move in the upwards direction? So I'm aware that, yeah, technically speaking, the price hasn't even worked its way back up to that area. But hopefully we can all agree it's definitely very close. But yes, now we get to ask the question, approaching the big battleground, but can the price finally break above it? And most importantly, stay above it. Case in point right there. There was a break above it, but that secondary fact, can the price stay above it, is where the price failed miserably. But yes, Tesla entering into the final portion of the day. We're approaching that potential breakout point, so grab your popcorn for Tuesday. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the way to approach the markets, avoid the pattern day trader rule, and just quite frankly, give yourself an opportunity with lower risk at a market that moves very, very nicely, then certainly check out the live stream. Ask me any sort of questions because I do understand also, like I mentioned earlier, if all this can sound a little bit sketchy. But like I said, give me a chance, swing by the live stream and see it with your very own eyes. So thanks for hanging out. Make sure you hit that like button. Take care.